Hey, and welcome to phase two of the NSPT Health and Wellness Centre. And this is food tracking overview with a slight weighting towards how to track your food while on the go, but also showing you just a safe food tracking. So, what's on the agenda for today? So, on the agenda today, firstly, we have what are calories and macronutrients. We hear people talk about them all the time, but what on earth is this stuff? Why is it important? Number two, the fundamentals of macro tracking. So, how do we actually do it? Number three, increasing your macro tracking accuracy. So, how do you increase your accuracy of tracking? Because let's face it, data is pointless if it's inaccurate. You want to make sure that the data recording is actually accurate to what you want to do. And finally, simplifying the process. Because people look at these things and they go into MyFitnessPal, they hear the words macro, and they just freak out and panic. It's too complex. I can't do it. Well, I'm going to talk you through exactly how to simplify the process. So let's get started with an explanation of macros. So what are macros? Well, as we know, these are actually known as macronutrients. So macronutrients, they are the energy containing nutrients. So we have micronutrients, which are the vitamins and the minerals. They don't contain any energy. They don't contain calories, whereas macronutrients, they have an energy containing component, which is your calorie. So proteins, for every gram of protein, there's 4 calories. And the same again for carbohydrates. For every gram of pure carbohydrates, there's 4 calories. For fats, and this is why fats get demonized so much, for every gram of fat, there's 9 calories. And then the fourth one, the one that's always forgotten about, is your alcohol. For every gram of alcohol, that contains 7 calories. So, unlike proteins, carbs, and fats, alcohol doesn't actually have any health benefits to your body. Even with fats, I know you're looking at this right now and thinking, fats, so calorific, I'm not going to have them. Fats are so important for your body, for hormonal function, it's important for recovery, it's important for so many things. So don't just go skipping on them just because it's so calorific. Just be aware that you have a little bit less of these because it's calories. You still need to have them in your diet. Absolutely critical to have it in your diet. Alcohol, on the other hand, not so much. There's no reason for it at all. So we have your proteins, carbs, and fats, and alcohol as our main 4 macronutrients that provide us with energy, also known as calories. So combining them, so combine, so sorry, combine them, make up our daily calorie intake. This affects our body composition. So calorie surplus, that is eating more than our bodies can burn. In return, you're going to have weight gain. So say our bodies burn 2,000 calories a day, but you're going ahead to eat 2,500 calories a day. Body can't quite burn that off. You're going to end up gaining weight. So calories have to go somewhere. It gets stored as fat, which in turn is energy. The energy has to get stored somewhere. On the other hand, if you're in calorie deficit, you eat less than your bodies can burn, you're going to have, in turn, a weight loss. So say, again, go on that 2,000 calorie diet per day, and you're only burning, say, 1,700 calories a day. You've got that 300 calorie deficit, you're going to end up burning off body fat. So weight loss. On the other hand, calorie balance, eat the same as our bodies can burn. So again, using that 2,000 calorie number again, if you eat 2,000 calories and your body burns off 2,000 calories, it's called body or weight maintenance. So you're not going to lose weight, you ain't going to gain weight. So the fundamentals of macronutrient tracking. So use MyFitnessPal application. So below this presentation, there should be a link for you to download MyFitnessPal. If not, head into your app store. If that be your iPhone, then go to your Apple store, and then look for MyFitnessPal, download it there. Or if you're on another type of Android phone, smartphone, then go to your Google Play store and you can download it there. You can even download it on pretty much any mobile device. It would be iPad or any other kind of tablet. You can download it there. You can even download it on your computer or your laptop. If you just go into your internet browser, type in MyFitnessPal, download it, and you're done. So once that is actually done, then you want to start to employ what we call the 80-20 principle. For example, say you were on a 1,000 calorie diet, which I highly don't recommend, but we're taking it as an example. Say we're having 1,000 calories a day. 80% of your calories are going to be, just say 80, make it nice and simple, 800 calories of your food, and then your 200 calories, your 20% could be that slice of cake, that donut, a bit of chocolate, whatever you fancy for that day. You've got that leeway or the flexibility to have that. So give yourself that flexibility, and that is why MyFitnessPal is so good. You can input the 80% real good food, and then the 20% not so good, not so optimized or optimal food, and enter it there, and it gives you the information back. You know, some people, they tend to freak out when they're on a calorie count diet. Don't freak out. I know when we break our calories down into macros, proteins, fats, carbs, it can be stressful. Having to hit your numbers, don't worry. As long as you get within that plus or minus 5 grams for each of your macros, then that's going to be absolutely okay. And then number 4, you prioritize your calorie intake. Before we focus on your proteins, you want to think about just your total calories. So even before breaking down your proteins, fats, your carbs, number 1, especially if you're starting out first, just go for the calories. Total calories. Say you're on a 1,700 calorie intake per day, then just focus on hitting that number plus or minus 5 grams. So before focusing on proteins, fats, carbs, you really want to be focusing on just the overall calorie number. First, as I've already just said, because it can be quite overwhelming, confusing, and you just end up freaking out. So, yeah, as I've already said, uh, number one, hit the calorie number first. Then, once you get more experienced, then you can think about hitting your calories along with your proteins. And then breaking it all down: proteins, fats, carbs. So, recording your food. How do we actually record our food? Good question. So, number one, plan your meals in advance whenever possible. So, say you you know what you're having, you've cooked it the night before, you can you can input the calories if you already know them. You know what you've put into your foods, especially if you're going through the recipes that I've supplied with for you. Then they've all got the calorie counts on it, uh, broken down into your carbs, fats, and proteins. So it makes it super easy. Number two, split your macros equally between meals. So this is an old one that I was on a while back. So I was on, my total calorie intake was 2,500 calories per day. So I broke that down into carbs, fats, and proteins, and I came out with 275 grams of carbs, 70 grams of fats, and then 200 grams of proteins. I split that into 4 meals per day. So that was my meal structure. I was on 4 meals a day. So calculate or divide your meals by 4. So each meal I was on 634 calories per meal. Breaking that down further into your carbs, fats, and proteins. So I was on 68 grams of carbs per meal, 17 grams of fats per meal, and then 50 grams of proteins per meal. Enter it into MyFitnessPal ahead of time, especially if you're using the recipes. And then number 4, get as close as you can to your calorie number for each day. And then number 5, use balancing foods to top up. So balancing foods are what you're going to use towards the end of the day. If you're a little bit short, say you're 20 grams short on protein, maybe have a protein shake or something like that, or you're 20 grams short on your carbs, have a banana, because a banana is roughly 20 grams of carbohydrate. So as we've already said, balancing your foods that will increase your specific macronutrient without an impact on the other two too much, if that makes sense. So basically, as I've already said, I gave the example of a protein shake. There's very little fat in a protein shake, very little carbs in just protein shakes. So it doesn't really affect the carbs or your fat intake so much. Again, with a banana, it's more just carbs. It doesn't really affect your protein or your fats. Again, as I've already said, use them at the end of the day, especially if you're still that little bit short on your target. So a little bit more into balancing foods. As we've already said, you can have protein powder, chicken or turkey breast, lean beef, egg whites, a high protein yogurt. These are all brilliant examples of what you can have towards the end of the day. Carbs, so make sure you've got some rice cakes, honey, fruits, or again, if you've got that 20% leeway again, have some sweets. Fats, so coconut oil, olive oil, butter, cream, macadamia nuts. So again, there's about 15 grams of fat in your oils, in olive oil anyway. So you might want to sprinkle a little bit of extra olive oil on your salad if it's salad that you're having, or whatever it is you're cooking with. So increasing the accuracy of your tracking. So number one, select the correct food data. So what that means, when entering your meals, your recipes into MyFitnessPal, you could say it's a Sainsbury's meal uh, or an Asda, Tesco's brand meal, then type in that product, wherever you got your product from. So say Tesco's, type in Tesco's, then whatever it was. Enter the brand into each search, or make it a little bit easier for yourself. You can use the barcode scanner. 9 times out of 10 is going to be in MyFitnessPal's library, so it makes it quite easy for you to input it in. Or if it doesn't, then you can always cross-check against a website called www.calorieking.com. So number two, when we're try to use raw weights. So rather than spoons or whatever, have your scales more accurate, so you know exactly the weight of your foods, and then it makes it easier to calculate proteins, fats, carbs. So again, as I've already said, use your scales with the spoons, cups, etc. Initially, at least, because if you're using spoons, one spoonful is going to be different from the next spoonful. You might have it more heat than you did the last time. Cups, you might just have it a little bit more or a little bit less, depending how much you're filling up your cup. So stick with your skills for the time being until you get a little bit more experience and become more accurate in using spoons and cups. So, estimating your macros while on the road or while we're traveling. So, sometimes we can't weigh or measure everything, especially when we're on the go or we're eating out. So, tips: select foods that you're familiar with. So, say you go to the same restaurant quite often, go for the chicken or the steak fillet or the beef fillet, whatever it is, rather than going for that lobster or something that you don't usually go for. Just stick with foods that you're familiar with. Try to choose lean sources of proteins, fats, and carbs. Envision your foods as individual components. So, say a burger. Uh, if you're entering a burger into MyFitnessPal, it's just going to give you whatever it is. But if you break it down into MyFitnessPal, so say your lean mince or lean beef, break it down roughly how many protein is going to be in your lean beef. The bun is going to be the carbs, so 2 buns. There's your carbohydrates, and then your sauces for your fats, your mayonnaise sauce or tomato sauce, whatever it is, and then break it down, and you become more accurate in counting your calories. So lean proteins, roughly, deck of cards equals 85 grams cooked weight. Your lean carbs, half a clenched fist, so half a cup of cooked carbs. Adding your fats, so add 1 tablespoon of olive oil if cooked in fats. So smart travel choices. try to take a look at the menu online or ahead of time, if available, that is. So if you know you're going to some restaurant with your work colleagues or you've got a night out coming, jump online if they've got their menu online, go into it, check it out, uh, and then just see what you're going to have. You want to try and choose meat and fish items that are steamed, boiled, baked, grilled, poached, or roasted. And then again, choose vegetables that have been steamed over, sauteed, or fried. And then again, another tip, asking for the dressings or your condiments on the sides, such as dressings, sour creams, cheese, mayonnaise. So you come into a restaurant and your waiter comes to the table. Instead of saying, "Look, I'm on this. I'm trying to lose weight," try and put it in a different way. For example, just get your waiter to come over and say, "Look, I'm on this a health journey. Could you recommend what meals are boiled, baked, grilled, steamed, whatever it is?" Yeah, so yeah, just break it all down so you know exactly what you're having when you're having it. So if you could follow this, you you can use that deck of cards I've reused examples of earlier from the last slide. So, a little tip for you. Begin to think of foods and meals in terms of proteins, fats, and carbs. Again, use a food substitution list to help you out. So, still not progressing with fat loss? Usually, it's down to two reasons. One, you're overestimating your calorie requirements, or two, you're not tracking them properly. So, you're overestimating all your foods. I see this all the time. People, we look at, say, you have an omelette in the morning, you use 3 eggs, and then you just enter 3 eggs into MyFitnessPal. And then you totally forget about the oil or the butter that you use to cook it. Let's say olive oil. A tablespoon of olive oil is about 120 calories just on its own. Doing this every single day could rack up to about 900 calories over the week. So there's 900 calories that you've totally forgotten all about, and you wonder why you're not losing weight. So incorrect tracking is far more common than is led to believe. It's all down to not tracking correctly. You're not being vigilant enough, you're being lazy, you're just guessing stuff, not breaking it down into individual components. Again, we're just being lazy, and yes, it does take a little bit of time. But in the long run, if you want results, this is the best way by far to do it. The more accurate your data is, or the more accurate you have, the more accurate your data you have, then you can make accurate decisions and therefore get accurate results. So spend a little bit longer. The more you get used to doing it, the more you you do it, the more you'll get used to doing it. So start playing around with MyFitnessPal application and you'll be all over it within a couple of days. And then tip number 2, if you are 100% sure you're tracking accurately, decrease your calorie intake by about 5%. Do that for about a week again, for a week or so, and then start again. See how you get on. Still not hitting your numbers, or you're still not losing weight, then just hit me either in the Facebook group, the VIP super group, or Facebook Messenger, or email me. And we'll get back to you and we'll figure out what's going wrong or what's not going, what's not working for you. We'll find it out. So, action steps. Number one, hit your total calorie intake first. So say you're on a 1700 calorie diet, then just hit that number. Just focus on the 1700 calorie target. Number two, allow 5 plus or minus 5 grams on your macros. That's on each macro. So plus or minus 5 grams on your proteins, fats, carbs, and alcohol. Number three, prep in advance instead of just winging it. It doesn't work. Don't blag it. Don't blag things. You're just not going to get results. Full stop. Number four, stock up on your balancing foods, which we've already spoke about. Number five, go lean when eating out. So lean cuts of chicken breast rather than the thighs. Fillet, steak fillets, beef fillets, whatever it might be. Or your fish. Whatever it is you fancy that time. And then the sixth one, download MyFitnessPal and then watch the tutorials. So below this video, or there might be in another video, different file. Watch the tutorials that help you out with going through MyFitnessPal, how to enter foods, break all your macros down, your proteins, fats, carbs. And then lastly, download the food substitution list. So you start to get an awareness of the primary nutrients in that food group. I know it's quite a lot to take in. You might want to watch this again, but once you put this all together, you'll then start to understand that, hey, I've got an awareness of what I'm eating. I'm tracking it accurately. There's no way about it I cannot get results, because you can make the changes because you've got the data. If you've got no data, you're just guessing stuff. You're never going to be able to make accurate changes to your nutrition, which means you will not get the results that you want. So with that said, if you have any questions again, drop them in the VIP Facebook group, email me at nespt@icloud.com, or you can catch me on the Facebook Messenger. Throw me a message there. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. I'm Darren. Until next time, peace out, guys.